Welcome to Ventus's Storytime, where I read Hedgehog's weird original fiction. This is my rendition of A Clear Night Before the Storm. It's an Edie Valley story by the titular Hedgehog, even though she's not in the title. This night had been a long time coming. It'd been coming since one of those October picnics that Sydney and Marcel had. She knew it, he knew it. They didn't really talk about it, though. You know, part of it was awkwardness. Cindy was, like, a lot younger than he was. And they really weren't that charismatic. Although you'd think that Marcel, being, like, 2,000 years old, he'd have picked up some sort of social skills in the 2 millennia he'd been alive. Well, undead. He's a vampire, but you know what I mean. But, you know, a bit about it, too, was Cindy was afraid, you know. She'd made out with a bunch of football players when she was popular, you know, under the bleachers, you know, that kind of hanky-panky. But she was really too young to really progress beyond first, maybe second base. She didn't really have that much experience. She didn't have that much knowledge, you know. It's not like there's a book you can read about. Actually, there is books, and heck, I'm reading a story about her right now. But, you know, she was going to have to be reliant on Marcel to help her through everything. She was going to be vulnerable, and, you know, being vulnerable is freaking scary. I can say, you know, that I can never open up in front of anybody because, you know, I don't really like being vulnerable in front of people, you know. But anyway, you know, the course of action she was going to pursue wasn't really that smart because Marcel was a vampire. You know, he had certain tendencies like trying to suck people's blood and all that stuff. But, you know, since that October picnic, without a conscious decision really being made, Cindy was coming to the conclusion that she was going to bang Marcel. You know, she didn't really want to at first. She just kind of figured that it was going to happen eventually. It was an inevitability and a realization that it was really only a matter of time before she began to really want it. And, you know, as inevitabilities are wont to do, as the name so implies, she started to want to bang Marcel. You know, even though he was like 2,000 years older than him, but, you know, kids will be kids and vampires will be vampires, and Sting will write songs about it, you know. Don't stand so close to me. Anyway, you know, the two of them just really talked during the hour she was TAing for him. Still, you know, kind of weird. You know, he's the teacher. Young schoolgirl, young teacher, the subject of schoolgirl fantasy. So anyway, they were talking, you know, during the hour that she was his TA after school. You know, they didn't really touch that much because, you know, they didn't really know how to start. They'd kiss goodbye sometimes when Cindy'd have to leave for home. You know, they were just quick kisses, pecks on the cheek, stuff like that. And usually they'd end far too quickly. Okay, give me a second. I need to fill up a bit. Let me tell you something. Corona Premier, it's not as good as your standard Coronas. You know, your standard Coronas are a lot better. Corona Premiers are just kind of... They're in between, like, Corona Lights, and they've got the taste of a Corona Light without the no calories of a Corona Light, and they've got the calories of Corona without the taste of a Corona. So it's a medium where the compromise loses the best of both worlds. You lose the benefits of both by compromising. So if you're going to drink a Corona, get a standard Corona Extra or a Corona Light. Don't get a Corona Premier. And also, I should probably have a lime in this thing, but, you know, whatever. It's late. I'm doing this. Anyway, back to the kisses. Cindy and Marcel, Sydney and Marcel, they would kiss, freaking, you know, quick kisses before she'd leave for home. But then one day, you know, it didn't end because, you know, Cindy's gut was screaming at her not to pull away, and she listened to her gut. You know, she kissed Marcel. You know, they were making out. You know, they really went at it. You know, tongue, lips, the teeth, the tongue, all that good shit. The lips, the teeth, and the tongue. The lips, the teeth, and the tongue. The lips, the teeth, and the tongue. Anyway, they both gave into it. They were really going at it. Lips were flying. Teeth were flying. Tongues jousting, sword fighting, all that good stuff. The first 30 seconds really felt strange for Sydney. They really didn't know how to do it. They didn't have a rhythm. They weren't used to it. It was the first time they kissed. They were getting used to it. They were trying to find a rhythm, find a good pattern. And then when Sydney just realized, stop thinking about it, give in to your instincts, they figured it out. Quite out of her control. She was moving. She didn't bother to stop it. Sydney pressed herself into him, found her, she had her fingers up on back of his head. They were making out, the standard makeout position. You know what I'm talking about. You guys have seen it in the movies all the time. So Marcel chuckled the fact that she knew what to do, because she'd seen all those movies. Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, St. Elmo's Fire. But then they were interrupted by footsteps. Could have been the janitor, could have been a kid. Could have been the principal. Could have been Sting. Who knows? But, they had to pull apart. It really felt unfinished. So they moved in the supply closet. Guess they were playing some 7 Minutes in Heaven or whatever. So Cindy thought she'd never really memorized the contents of a supply closet. But, she spent a lot of time in there with Marcel. So, just by force of habit and seeing it every single day, she ended up looking at this one particular textbook on the far shelf with the number 518 written on it in the former history teachers. What happened to the old history teacher? Hedgehog, is this a plot point? Is this a plot point we should be picking up on? 518, is this the truth? See, 5 plus 18. Oh, shit. 5 plus 18. 23. Shit. Marcel confirmed for Jim Carrey. Anyway, let's keep going. So the image would be etched in her mind for hours afterward, dancing behind her eyelids as she tried to fall asleep. After a while, she actually came to associate the supply closet with making out with Marcel. It's like the Pavlov's conditioning. You go into the supply closet, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to make out with my hot, sexy 2,000-year-old vampire teacher. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. Sindri can do whatever she wants. So she realized that the day that she was going to bang Marcel was coming closer. She could feel there was this change, this sexual tension that was crackling between them. They'd just glance at each other, give each other the side glances. They'd look at each other, then look away, look down, look away. All that. You guys have done it before, or not. I mean, I've done it before. So and then she realized she wanted him. She wanted to bang him. It's human vampire nature. You know how bad girls get. What is it? Yeah. Her friends are so jealous. You know how bad girls get. So at times, she really wanted him, and it was an emotional desire. It was almost painful. It almost hurt for her to be in the same room with him. And it wasn't all the time, of course. Sometimes she was distracted by other things. She was making copies. She was bantering. She was bantering with him. Oh, wait, Chops, how about that fish and chips? You're a vampire. You can't go in the sun. Chip hip cheerio, bantamite. And so when she was acting like an English person or an Australian and giving Marcel some of the bants, she was good. But, when she first saw his face, that her heart nearly leapt to her throat, it seemed kind of silly, kind of childish almost to be taken back by his face. I mean, not really. I mean, there's actually... I think there's scientific studies that show that if you see something that you really like, your heart rate quickens. And so it's not childish. It happens to all of us, Cindy. So don't worry about that. But, her heart would, go off. She'd get excited. She'd feel that tingle and then the cockles of her heart, maybe even subcockle, like the upper and lower intestines and the, maybe even down deep in the pit of her stomach. Anyway, I'm trying to quote Dennis Leary, but really can't remember the song, so I'm going to move on. So, he wasn't really, Brad Pitt hot or Hugh Jackman hot or, I don't know, who's hot? Hedgehog, help me out here. Who's hot? You're not on the line. Never mind. But yeah, Yeah, you know, he wasn't hot, but she was attracted to him. There was something about them that made him absolutely beautiful to her. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beer. Beauty is in the eye of the beer holder. But anyway, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. She was beholding him. He was beautiful in her eyes. Case closed. And so when they were making out in the supply closet, you know, they were all pressed up against each other. Her body was against his hand under her shirt. You know, definitely. I don't know. What would you qualify that as? Was that second base nowadays? And that's really more like first and a half base. She's trying to steal second. She got onto first. Now she's trying to steal second. Or actually, he's the one trying to steal second because his hand's under her shirt. Anywho, the words tumble out without a conscious desire for them to do so. Maybe she has Tourette's. I want you. No. I got to do it in a Sydney voice. I want you. Yeah, he asked, looking down at her with a strange sort of hunger in his eyes. Yeah. He kissed her again, but, you know, this really wasn't tender. This was a rough, raw, you know, a beginning, not a goal. You know, it's the start of something. They're going to bang now. He reached for her sweater, began to pull it upward, but then he stopped. Wait, he said, have you ever done this before? Sindri paused, unsure of how she should respond. You know, he was, you know, by virtue of him being 2 millennia older, he was going to be a lot more experienced. You know, it kind of makes this weird. I'm not really certain I feel that comfortable reading this, but, you know, whatever. I'm going to keep going. I've started. I'm not going to stop. You know, she was worried that he wasn't going to even want her if she told him the truth. I mean, what does he expect? She's 18 years old, you know, she's, you know, probably not had a lot of sex. I mean, obviously, because of the story, she hasn't had sex at all, but, you know, standard 18-year-old, probably not had as much sex as your 2,000-year-old. It's just, I don't want to say physics, but standard probabilities. So anyway, so he said, wait, he said, have you ever done this before? Cindy paused, unsure how she should respond. We've been through this. So yeah, you know, it was silly. She realized that he knew that she knew that, you know, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Also, she knew she was never going to lie to him, which is weird because people lie to each other all the time in relationships. But anyway, no, she finally admitted. A supply closet is a terrible place to lose your virginity. Apparently, Marcel's never heard of 7 minutes in heaven. Oh, was that all? Sydney's cheeks flushed with relief. Probably, she said. A small grin crossed his face. You know, he finds it amusing. Tell you what, if we're going to do this, let's make something of it. Come to my house, stay the night. It'll be a date night. Come to my house, stay the night. We'll have some fun, you know. Come out to the coast. We'll have a good time, have some laughs. Oh, man. Dude, Die Hard is the best Christmas movie ever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's keep going. Yeah, the thought briefly flashed through her mind now how dangerous that could be because, you know, vampire sucks blood and everything. You wouldn't just happen to be playing an extremely long game by seducing me, inviting me to your house, and then draining me dry, would you? She asked, only half joking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's a vampire. He could probably just go out in some back alley and seduce and, you know, suck some homeless guy's blood. He doesn't need you. You know, this is kind of a waste of his time and his resources. But whatever. Am I still recording? I better check that. Yes, I am. Sweet. We're still going. Let's keep doing it. Yes, because clearly virgin blood is best after simmering in a sexual tension for months. I don't know, but, you know, when I'm cooking steak and I'm like kind of, you know, there's like you can make this marrow sauce with the steak blood and marrow sauce, and you simmer it for a while and you get this really good consistency, and it actually tastes better than like steak sauce. So I don't know, if you simmer blood, it usually becomes pretty good. So I don't know. Marcel could be a vampire gourmand. I don't know. He smirked and rolled his eyes after saying that, so I guess it was a joke. So, you know, she knew she was safe with Marcel. I don't know how she knew that. You know, maybe it's like the witch sense. But, you know, I guess she knew she was safe with Marcel. You know, he really didn't mean her no harm. and she trusted him. Okay, that's your call, girl. For once, she could thank the demon bastard for taking the question out of it.
All right,
she nodded. How does Thursday sound? We get Friday off this week, don't we?
For some made-up holiday that nobody celebrates yet.
Wait, is this February? President's Day is an American, it's a cherished American tradition. President's Day is great. President's Day is fantastic. I mean, I, for one, love celebrating Abraham Lincoln and George Washington's wait, Friday. Fuck. President's Day is on a Monday. What kind of holiday were they celebrating on a Friday in February? Anyway, let's keep going.
For some made-up holiday that nobody celebrates, yeah. I'll tell my mom I'm sleeping over at a friend's.
See, people in close relationships lie to each other all the time. What was I talking about? I wouldn't say it's a healthy part of a relationship, but it is a natural part of my relationship, of a relationship. I don't have a relationship right now. I mean, if I had a relationship, I'd probably not be doing this, drinking beer and narrating a story at 10:23 on a Friday night. Anywho, let's keep rolling. So they kissed again, softly this time. It was a promise. Cindy was fixing his mussed-up hair, basically showing the fact that she cared about his appearance because, she's vain, he's vain. Well, he's not that vain. It's a good song by S3RL. That's my workout music. Mr. Vain, go insane, look at me. And okay, I gotta keep rolling if I'm ever gonna finish the story by midnight or whatever. So they fixed each other's appearances up.
I'll see you tomorrow,
she said, leaving the supply closet and grabbing her things from the classroom. He'd wait just a minute, just in case someone happened to be watching. I don't know what time of day this is, so I mean, this could be like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I mean, who the hell stays around school at 7 o'clock at night? I mean, I guess the janitor could see them. Whatever. The rest of the week was one of the longest of her life. Apparently she doesn't know how to compartmentalize, but whatever. If the one saving grace was the care she had to take to prepare. Oh, yeah, in order to, get the plans right. Yeah, so there was no way her mom was going to there was no way her mother was going to let her spend the night alone at her history teacher's house. I mean, that's a pretty self-explanatory sentence. I don't really think I have to expound upon that. So she was going to have to figure out a way to get her mom to not keep track of her for a night. Anyway, she didn't really have very many friends, just like probably a lot of people who are going to be listening to what I'm saying. Yeah, including me. Most of her former friends have refused to speak to her after her sophomore year. Tom Paine, T-Pain had a great quote about this. Not the T-Pain you'd be familiar with, but the actual T-Pain, Thomas Paine, the guy who wrote Common Sense. What is it? The Summer Friend of the Sunshine Patriot? I'm going to look this up. Summer Friend, Sunshine Patriot. Yes. Yes, one of my favorite quotes. Even though I don't remember it very much. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserve the love and thanks of man and woman. That's Thomas Paine, The American Crisis. So apparently all of Sydney's friends did not deserve the thanks and love of man and woman because they were summer friends and sunshine soldiers. Basically, that means that they just served during the summer, and when things got hard, they went back home and planted their crops instead of sticking around in Valley Forge and winning the American Revolution. Thanks to those people, because of that, we can live free, and we're not part of the Commonwealth. USA, USA, USA. Now, to be clear, I do love our British friends, best allies, but I am glad I live in a democratic republic and not a constitutional monarchy. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So yeah, a lot of her former friends refused to speak to her after her sophomore year, so she'd have to talk to Jenny Jameson. Yeah, I get it. They'd been friends back when they were young, and they drifted apart once they started hanging out with different crowds. You know, one had a dad who went, "Hiya, family," and drove his minivan in a Pac-Man simulator, and the other got her brightness in life stolen by a demon. So yeah, they hung out with a lot of different crowds, but yeah. They'd always remained friendly, and had started talking again junior year. So I mean, that's only a year. I mean, I went without it. I've gone years without speaking to friends, but you know, people who I trust. Actually, let's see. I guess it'd be probably Chris. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm not certain I trust Chris. Would I trust Chris? My car keys, but not my life. I trust Chris with my car keys, but not my life. So yeah, she was going to be smart about this. No loose ends. No loose ends. Eliminate all the loose ends. She had leaned over to Jenny the next morning during, what is Comtech? What is Comtech? Is it commercial technology? Communications technology? Are you guys, what? So she said she was seeing an older man, yeah, like that's not going to raise any red flags. Whatever. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge. I don't care. And would she would she please say that Sydney was sleeping over at her house? So Cindy asked Jenny for Jenny to say Cindy was sleeping over at Jenny's house if anybody asked. And Jenny asked, "You want me to cover you while you go canoodle?" I like that word. I like that word. That's one of my favorite words. Canoodling, hanky panky. You know, the old fooling around. Some old weirdo. I mean, you know, who knows? Could have been a pretty normal older guy. You know, just looking for some side action. You know, maybe his wife's not putting out anymore. You know, I mean, anyway. So she glanced at Sydney over her long, lank hair.
That's not how I'd put it, but yeah.
All right. Wait, now I gotta do this. So you want me to cover for you while you go canoodle some old weirdo? She glanced at Cindy over her long, lank hair.
That's not how I'd put it, but yeah.
All right.
Wait, really?
Jenny nodded. What's the voice? On one condition.
What is it?
Blinking slowly, Jenny smiled a little. I'm almost out of marshmallows.
I'll buy you some marshmallows.
Cindy laughed. Get the jumbo ones. The little ones don't work right. You know, and whatever the fuck that means. Cindy really didn't want to know. But, you know, once she got the marshmallows for Jenny, she really didn't have to do anything else but wait until Friday, until she banged Marcel. And waiting was torture, because she was horny. You know, she was aroused. She wanted to bang Marcel. Deep down, she knew, of course, that everything would work. That's a terrible thought to have, because, I mean, sometimes things don't work themselves out. You know, sometimes shit happens, and you got to deal with it. You know, sometimes things take effort. In fact, a lot of times things take effort. And you just got to keep fighting, keep going, keep rolling. Just put in that effort, put in that time, keep fucking going. Just keep fucking going. Keep working, keep going. Anyway, so she couldn't help the trillion little worries that endlessly looped through her head, which was, you know, pretty smart of her. You know, you got to make certain you have all eventualities tied up. You know, what if he had a Tic Tac dick? What if he had one of those weird hentai tentacle dicks and couldn't fit? You know, what if he wanted to do anal? You know, what if she was pretty bad at this? You know, what if she was so awkward that he didn't want to bang her and she turned him off? You know, what if the Kool-Aid Man burst through the wall while they were banging? I mean, these are legitimate things to worry about. I mean, the Kool-Aid Man cock-blocking people has been reported. Not in reputable newspapers, mind you, but in the Weekly World News and in the National Enquirer, it has been said. And if you've ever watched Men in Black, these magazines are actually truthful magazines. They're the hot sheets that the Men in Black go to find alien reports. Anyway, we're going to keep going. So then she also thought about it going perfectly, wonderfully. These thoughts and her fantasies. Doom, 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 ba-da-da-do-da-da-do. Lately I'm learning that so many yearnings are never to be. Childhood illusions of merely delusions of a girl that I see. In my mind's eye, I see clearly a vision of how it could be. Me and my fantasy girl. Hold on to me, be my fantasy girl. Don't set me free. Okay. Yeah, apologies. I'm gonna keep going. So she'd be having fantasies that chase all the thoughts away from her mind. She'd be all good, She was worried. Let's be honest. It's a frightening prospect having sex for the first time when you actually have like a set out date. It's kind of like, having surgery or a test or, going on a trip. It's a major life event. And the anxiousness and the apprehension and the excitement all bundled together gives you, for lack of a better term, butterflies in your stomach. As you can tell, I'm not a writer. So she was half convinced that the suspense would literally kill her. It didn't, though. By the time Thursday rolled around, she had no idea what to even do with herself. It was a miracle that she had managed to get through breakfast without her mom noticing. Knowing, although she was pretty certain her mom did, but just didn't say anything because, moms are good people. Moms care about their kids. Moms know when to push, when not to push, when to pry, when not to pry. It takes a lot of skill to be a mother, and I respect that. Class was even worse. Class sucks. Let's be honest. I mean, I've had classes that's felt longer than literal months I've had, on vacation. Time slowed to a standstill, almost to the point where Cindy wondered even if the clocks had stopped working all together, just when she thought she'd be stuck in an endless hell of droning teachers and pointless study sheets forever. A bell that signaled the start of 7th period rang, and Sydney abruptly found herself outside of Marcel's classroom with no memory of having walked there. Now that's a sign. Memory loss, I mean, that's a sign of something serious. I think that's... I don't remember the exact diagnosis of memory loss. I mean, it could be aliens. I mean, you got vampires, you got the truth, you got, little kids racing bicycles against eldritch, Irish gods. I'm not going to make that joke. But yeah, aliens are definitely not out of the question. But apparently this wasn't aliens, this was just her mind playing tricks on her because she wanted to bang Marcel. Anywho, she couldn't stand out here forever. She turned a step in the classroom. She silently berated herself for being so nervous. She literally saw him every single day. This really wasn't anything new. But it wasn't every day that she saw him with full knowledge that just in a few hours he would have all his clothes off. I don't know. I mean, he could leave his shirt on while they banged. He could leave his boxers on. He could leave his socks on. I mean, he could have the fetish of wearing like a Patagonia vest. I mean, I've seen that happen. But yeah, so as she set her backpack down at a desk, Marcel looked up and casually from a paper he was ready. "We'll bang, okay?" He nodded from under the reading glasses, which she knew for a fact he had only used to make himself look older. I guess he wanted to feel his age. I mean, I'd rather look younger, but whatever. That's his choice. She hated the forced formality, but in this public institution, it was a necessary precaution. Strong words in the staff room, the accusations fly. So yeah.
It's no use. He sees her. He starts to shake and cough, just like the old man in that book by Nabokov.
There were so many things she was bursting to say, but she held her tongue. There'd be plenty of time later. I mean, I don't know. You don't really... I guess pillow talk. Pillow talk. She was planning on pillow talking with him. The tension positively crackled through the air as they waited for the seconds to tick by. I mean, that's, it's Friday or Thursday. Just take off. Meet at his house. Play hooky. Whatever. She was vibrating with impatience. I guess, she had a lot of caffeine earlier on in the day. Cindy couldn't believe how... I'm going to improve on this sentence. Cindy couldn't believe how sophomoric some of these sophomores were. There we go. Good old pun. On the test she was now grading, some douchewad, that's a good word, Hedgehog, I like that word, had claimed that Snoop Doggy Dogg was the 15th president of the United States. Then the 16th president was Biggie Smalls, who was assassinated by John Wilkes Tupac. At least the teeth-clenchingly cringy test provided a small amount of much-needed distraction. Oh, God. At least, it was overcast day, so Marcel could go outside without being fried to a Rice Krispie treat. Cindy didn't know if she could bear having to wait past 5 for the sun to go down. So they're probably living above the Mason-Dixon line in some decent, a latitude, it's probably like in Minnesota or Iowa or, wherever Hedgehog's from. Wisconsin. It's probably somewhere in Wisconsin. It was hard enough having to wait for 3, looking up at the clock after what seemed like an eternity to realize that only 4 minutes have passed. Finally, after echoing through the near-empty classroom, Ventus took a drink.